This episode is brought to you by Lilly Endowment as part of our series on Christian spirituality. And it's just a chance to have a moment to reflect on life and faith in the service of knowing and loving God. Hey friends, it's Kate, your friendly neighborhood cultural mythbuster. Oh yes, it's that time of year. Back to school. New start energy where it feels like everyone is turning into a better version of themselves. It's like January, but with the added pressure of locating lunch boxes and no champagne toast. The stores are packed with shiny new planners and color-coded to-do lists that whisper, "This is the year. You finally get your act together. I promise." I fall for it every time. Maybe you've said it to yourself too. I thought summer would fix me. I'll be more rested, more zen, more magically able to juggle everything on my schedule. But then here I am, slightly more sun damaged and really behind on email. But the same me. We love a good transformation story though, don't we? We binge the podcasts, we order the supplements, we Google how to become a morning person like it's an emergency. But what does it actually take to become someone new? How much change is actually possible this year? And what does that look like for people with, actual lives, jobs, kids, obligations, anxiety, Amazon returns? These are the questions that animate all of my work as a cultural historian. I study what people believe about themselves and what those beliefs make possible or impossible, especially when it comes to change. Are we the captains of our fate, masters of our blah blah? Are we just ready to turn it all around with a little hustle? Or are we just along for the ride, hoping not to fall off the edge? This tension has ancient roots. The Stoics believed in self-mastery, pruning your desires and controlling what you could. The 4th century Augustine, Bishop of Hippo, by contrast, believed that we needed divine grace to change at all. So is it all willpower? Is it all surrender? Maybe somewhere in the middle? People have been circling around the same question forever. What actually makes a good life, a good year? Not just success or smarts or having a great skincare routine, but the kind of deep goodness that holds up when life falls apart. Turns out that there are a few habits of the heart that help. Academic and theological folk like to call these habits cardinal virtues. And they are, I list them, prudence, justice, temperance, and fortitude. If these hold, the rest of the moral life opens up more easily. So in this version, we're not good people or bad people. I don't know if you often fall into that tar pit, but something small will happen and I'll suddenly be like, oh wait, am I a bad person? These cardinal virtues are less about being good or bad as like a fixed state and more about becoming. It's a person in process. What kind of person? Maybe it's the kind of person who stays soft-hearted in the face of injustice, who chooses wisely, who loves lavishly, who lives with strong-backed courage in the face of uncertainty, who bravely puts one foot in front of the other when everything seems lost. And this is like the whole reason why I'm getting very on my high horse about this whole thing. It's just that we need these virtues now more than ever. I need these virtues now more than ever because we have a culture that tells us that we can have a good life if we just try harder. And if life is hard, well, then we clearly didn't optimize, manifest, or hydrate enough. So what if we just get away from worry about whether we are good, worry about whether we can make everything good, and just calm down for a second? Because today I want to zero in on one of those ancient virtues, and it's the one that I think we need the most in the season of fresh starts and big expectations. Prudence. That's right, you heard me. Prudence. I know, the sexiest of virtues. Especially since these days, prude usually just means like someone who won't just let you watch Outlander in peace. But hear me out. Prudence is our picker. It's our internal nudger. And great news, our instincts can get even better and better over time. We can become even more prudent. Prudence is that quality that helps us know what is good. And maybe then even pick it at the right time for the right reason. So, yes, prudence is that magical quality that knows the next right thing. And yes, the practice of prudence it's just that. It's practice. It's the thing that takes time and effort and just a little hint of delusion because we'll never get it perfect. But we're also not capable of transformation. One of my very favorite catalysts of transformation is Father Greg Boyle. I don't know if you know him, so welcome to my obsession, but Father Greg Boyle founded Homeboy Industries in Los Angeles, which employs and trains former gang members and offers other free services to facilitate healing. And Father Greg loves to tell the story of Louis, this big, joyful presence who had spent 18 months in Greg's program before landing a steady job at an air conditioning factory, where he's been for the last 8 years. Louis had transformed from gang member to drug dealer to the stars into a man deeply rooted in community. But what stuck with Greg was Louis's parting words. You are all diamonds covered in dust. Louis's words remind us that we really are capable of transformation. We just might need some of that careful wisdom and a whole lot of love to get us and keep us on track. So that's where prudence comes in. In this age of optimization and hustle culture, we can't just run around trying in every direction. We're so certain that trying and then being tired because we were trying so hard is what makes us good. Prudence reminds us that the good life is not just what we do, but how and why we do it. The tiny acts we do every day that slowly start to brush away maybe all the little dust, revealing us for the diamonds we are and are still becoming. So that just kind of brings us back to where we all started. There are so many opportunities to become someone a little bit different this year, a million fresh starts. But how do we know what to do and when? How do we make sure that we're changing into people we actually want to become? That's where prudence helps, not as self-improvement for its own sake, but as a slow growing faithfulness grounded in wisdom. A decision to be present, to be kind, less of a jerk about our neighbors, less annoyed about noise in our building, for example. Becoming rooted in something deeper than aspiration or just a desire to be comfortable in life. As grit researcher Angela Duckworth says, enthusiasm is common, endurance is rare. And honestly, I have enthusiasm in spades. I've always thought I would make an excellent short-term cult member, very enthusiastic, extremely susceptible to matching outfits. Case in point, I was recently studying a wellness community for research, but then for research became for research, quote unquote, because within a week I was wearing the reminder bracelet. I had the branded water bottle. I was cheering on strangers in their digital community like it was, part of my new me. And then all of us were just 5 easy steps away from our optimal self. Just wouldn't that be nice if becoming better really was one program away? But if self-help really worked, the genre would stop being a billion-dollar industry. It would probably just be the cost of one cheap paperback. But we're given solution after solution that promises we can turn our lives around by Monday. And that's the danger, I think. Our deep hunger to change meets our very real ambition fatigue. And I hate to break it to you, but I'm convinced that change, that process of becoming, is the path we're on for a lifetime. This is the work, and this is the theological term for it, but that process of becoming, we call that sanctification. That's the act of Holy Spirit-led becoming. So who do we want to become? Every year, I do try to pick up one new spiritual practice or habit that I want to develop. Not because I think it'll fix me, even though I secretly believe it'll fix me, but because I like the idea of becoming, of trying something just to push myself a little bit. Last year, I tried the read the Bible in 1 year. I made it to I made it to mid-February, I'll be honest. But this year, I'm going to try to be a little more bite-sized, a little less optimistic, more guided by prudence. So I'm going to go back to my 1 line-a-day journal. Do you know those things? You just write one sentence about your day. It's just, and then you like write the year, and then the next year you come back and then you can see what you did on that day. And I just find that that one sentence gives me a little jolt of gratitude. It also makes me feel like I'm on a journey, like something is happening in my life. I'm also really in it for the funny jokes, they're just me amusing myself. So yeah, I'm going to go back this year to my 1 sentence-a-day journaling. But it made me want to ask you, is there anything you want to try this year? Maybe you want to pray more regularly or pick a place to volunteer that you go to a couple times and get to know people. Maybe you want to show up at your kid's soccer game and then actually watch it. But before you decide, prudence might have us ask, what do I actually have energy for? Where does this practice fit into my actual days? Is this the right way I want to grow? And do I have the right motivation behind this change? And if your answer is no to any of the above, maybe just start again. Ask yourself, like, what practice might fit the shape of this real season and who you are becoming? And then write it down. Look, and also, if you want a little accountability, I want you to come over and tell me. I'm on Substack now, which is really nice because I can see all of your comments. And I'm at katebowler.substack.com. So if you want to share, let's call it our one reasonable thing for the fall, come tell me your one reasonable thing. And, we can cheer each other on like a wellness cult without the cult or the wellness. Okay, before I go, I want to bless our hungry, ambitious, delusional selves. So here's a little blessing for when you want to change, but not overnight. Blessed are you who begin again, who resist the pressure to overhaul your entire life in a weekend, who pick one underwhelming thing and say, this, I can do this, probably. Blessed are we, the slow changers, hungry for all that makes life good, but exhausted by the thought of what it might take to get there. We who want to pause long enough to ask, is this mine to do? And can I do it without becoming completely unbearable? For we are the back-to-school grown-ups trying again with a commitment to one reasonable thing that probably won't fix us, but hope to make us more loving and less prone to raging at people and cars, more compassionate, less controlling, more attuned to the good, less enslaved by the should. May these small habits help us become not our best selves, but faithful and present and less cranky by dinner. May we be open to all that God is doing in and through us. And maybe, just maybe, we will change slowly, faithfully, and all with God's help. All right, my loves, if you're like a blessingsy person and you like more of that sort of thing, there's places to get it. I have written blessings books. Like my latest one is called Have a Beautiful, Terrible Day. It's got like a little reflection and prayers and maybe a next step if you're trying to figure out how to be changey but slightly less tired. So tired. And there's also blessings and reflections like this one over on Substack. I'm very into my Substack feelings because it's just a chance where I get to see the embodiment of this beautiful community, where I get to see all of you. And there's a whole tab for blessings. And on Sundays on social media, I always post a blessing. So you can always find me there at Kate C. Bowler. Also, hilariously, I'm on YouTube, so you can see this mug whenever you want, which also makes episodes like this maybe easier to share with friends. So come find me at Kate C. Bowler on YouTube. Until next time, may you have a beautiful, terrible day. This has been Everything Happens with me, Kate Bowler. Awesome.